guys, it's Kevin again with an early review for Olivia Wilde's directorial debut, Booksmart. And what Booksmart is essentially about is we center on these two high school seniors. We have Amy and Molly, and these two girls are, like I said, they're seniors, but they've been very, very focused on getting as good grades as possible. They're very A-plus students. They're getting into these great colleges, but they don't really have much of a social life. And, you know, after going through their second to last day of high school, they realize that they really need to make up for that. There's this party that's going on, and so Molly comes up with this idea that they are going to spend the rest of that night trying to get into this party to make up for the lack of fun that they've had throughout their high school career, and maybe finally get that social life that they've always sort of been hoping for. And that's really all I'm going to say. So Booksmart overall, I was very excited for this film, you know, especially as of recently. We've been getting some really great high school coming-of-age films, and this looked like it was going to be the big one of this year. You know, we've had 8th Grade, we've had The Edge of 17, we had Lady Bird, and I thought this one could maybe be that for this year. And, you know, it had a really great cast. I really love Kaitlyn Dever. I really do like what I've seen of Beanie Feldstein, Olivia Wilde doing directorial debut. It really did seem like a recipe for success, and I'm happy to say that I really did love this film. Booksmart is a very fun and enjoyable high school film. I don't think it's as amazing as everyone is saying, but this is still a really great film at the end of the day, and we're just getting into the right now, starting off with the cast. And I'll just say this right now, everyone in this cast really does do an excellent job. I thought everyone really was fantastic here, but easily the two performances that anchor this film are Beanie Feldstein and Kaitlyn Dever. These two are just great. I loved their chemistry in the film. You have Beanie Feldstein, who is, you know, sure, she is someone who is very focused on the grades, but she really does want to try to get in there more. She wants to, you know, party finally. She wants to try to have this social life. And then you have Amy, who is a lot more soft-spoken, and she isn't as into the idea, but you see the friendship that these two really do have, and the chemistry these two have. I mean, it is just through the roof. They do such a great job in this film. It is definitely some of the best chemistry I've seen in any film so far this year. You really do buy into their friendship here. You understand why these two care about each other as much as they do, and I thought they handled that very well. And honestly, between the two, I really can't say who is the bigger standout here. Both of them just had so many hilarious moments throughout this film, but they also had some very touching moments as well, and I thought that was definitely really blended nicely here, and it really is thanks to their acting. You know, I really love what I've seen of the two of them, but I'm hoping that this gives them even bigger roles, because I feel like Kaitlyn Dever and Beanie Feldstein, they're actresses that should be a lot bigger than they are, and I hope this film finally gives them those really big, meaty roles that I have always wanted to see from them, because I think they're both very talented, and this film very well exhibits that. But the supporting cast as well is also fantastic here. Billie Lourd is maybe the funniest I have ever seen her. I love what I've seen from her in like Scream Queens and American Horror Story, but holy shit, she is on a whole other level here. I don't want to get into her character too much, but she plays this character Gigi, and let's just say this character is absolutely insane. She has this gag throughout the film that very easily could have gotten stale, but Lourd just kills it in this role. I love what she did here. She honestly might have been the funniest in the entire movie. I thought she was absolutely hysterical. Anytime she came on screen, I just lost it, and I loved what she did here. Such a fantastic performance overall, and it's performances like these where I don't understand it when people say Billie Lourd is not a good actress. I think she's very talented, and this movie very much does showcase that. Skylar Gisondo, it was really cool to see him in another film, and he does a very good job as this character Jared, someone who clearly has feelings for Molly, and he's a bit of a social outcast as well, but where those two end up going, I definitely really did enjoy his character here. Jessica Williams is really great. Jason Sudeikis, oh my god, so funny in this movie, playing just this very disgruntled principal who pretty much just says everything that a principal shouldn't say, and I really did love that. Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte are great as Amy's parents. Everyone really does do a great job. Molly Gordon, I thought was very good here. Everyone in this cast is just on their A game. I thought everyone did such an excellent job here, and I really can't praise them enough. I think one of the best things about this entire film is this cast here. There's so many standouts. There's so many people that I just absolutely loved, and, you know, if any of these actors aren't stars yet, I think they will definitely be after this movie, because really all of them just gave such great performances here. But now let's get to the directing and the writing. Now, the directing here, of course, is by Olivia Wilde. This is her directorial debut, and honestly, I'm shocked, because what she does in this film, she presents a very specific style, and I think she handles it very well. Now, I will say, does she break any new particular ground? Not really. This is, for the most part, a very standard high school comedy, but I think it works as just that. You know, she shows her ability here, especially when it comes to the comedy, which is just so well done. The film is consistently hilarious. Similar to the last film I reviewed, Lawn Shot, there are so many hilarious moments throughout this film, but it also is the heart of the film that I think also works very well. I think Wilde really did a great job with blending those two things. The film has realism in there, but it never takes itself too seriously, and that's something I thought was handled very well. You know, a lot of high school films, they tend to be very overdramatic, and this one really isn't. You know, there are a lot of moments that, sure, it can get emotional, but for the most part, this is a comedy, and I thought that's something that Wilde did very well. You know, she could have easily made it more of a mix, but it is really more of a comedy, and I think it works as that, honestly. The writing in this film also is very well done. I love the plot right off the bat. I love the idea that these are two girls that are so focused on their studies, and they just haven't really had time to do other stuff. They haven't partied. They haven't really broken any rules, as they talk about in the trailers. You know, they've just, in general, they just have kind of been these, you know, these goody two-shoes sort of people, and they want to be something more. You know, you see they want to, you know, show off their rebellious side, and I thought that was a really great plot, and the film does a really great job with that plot line, thankfully. I think the writing here is very well done. Now, I will say right now, is this film the most realistic portrayal of high school? No. There are things in this film where you will watch it and you'll be like, that wouldn't happen. There's no possible way that that wouldn't happen, but if you suspend your disbelief and if you get into the vibe of what this movie is trying to do, I think it works as just that. I wasn't really bothered by it, but I can understand if some people do take issue with the fact that it really is not a very realistic portrayal of high school. There are definitely things in here that are realistic. I mean, certain situations that these characters are faced with, particularly these two theater students that Molly and Amy come across, really brought me back to high school. I mean, so spot on with what they did there, and I thought they did a very good job with that. This one girl that Molly Gordon plays, who has basically been slut-shamed, I thought she definitely, that was very accurate, the way all that was done. The various situations that Molly and Amy also get involved with, yeah, they are very unrealistic. A lot of what we do see with them, yeah, it probably wouldn't happen, but it's still a lot of fun to watch, and I really didn't care because it just was so hilarious, and it was so entertaining, and that entire cast, like I said, they handled the material so well that I'm able to overlook some of the more ridiculous aspects of the film that some other people might take issue with. But like I said, the script in general, it's very well done. The film is so hysterical. There is one scene in particular that is already one of the funniest scenes of the entire year. I don't care what other comedies come out. This will, hands down, be one of the funniest scenes of the entire year. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it involves this drug that the girls have to take, and this sort of hallucination that they undergo is probably the single funniest trip scene I've seen since 22 Jump Street. If you guys remember the trip scene in there where, you know, they're on drugs and they're having all these weird sort of, just acid trips, there is something like that in Booksmart, and oh my god, it just had me dying of laughter, and I absolutely loved what they did there. I thought it was so creative, and it's so well done, but the film also has a really great message of not just, not being what society tells you to be, but not holding yourself back, not stifling yourself to this one thing. Molly and Amy are two girls who, again, they feel like they've had to be very independent. They feel like they've had to be focused on their studies, and they feel like because of that, because they didn't party, that's why they were able to do really well. That's why they were able to excel in school, but the film also dives into the fact that, no, some of of these teenagers also did those things. You know, some of them that were rebellious, they also have really good grades. And I think the film really does subvert a lot of notions that, oh, because you don't party, you know, you're going to do better in school. And that's not always the case. And I did like the way this film kind of shed a light on that. It was very realistic in that way. Like I said, the film isn't, you know, super realistic in terms of things, but things like that, I thought they were completely head on with. And I thought that was definitely very well handled for sure. And the way they center these girls, the conflict that they're facing is really well done. For a while, it doesn't really come into play. But once we do realize what's actually going on, why Amy is a bit more resistant with these things, I thought it was actually really well done. It's a very touching moment, and I really did love where they ended up going with that for sure. I thought the writing in general was just very well done. Sure, there definitely are some predictable things, but there are some things they do that I was genuinely surprised by. One direction they took Amy's character in particular that I really was not expecting, and I really did love that overall. So, like I said, the writing is pretty great here, and there's a lot to definitely like about this film. In terms of cinematography, like I said, there are some really great scenes here. The film is very well crafted. That one scene I talked about already is absolutely hilarious, but there's also this one shot involving this very dramatic scene in the third act, and I thought that was also very well handled, and I love the way that was done. The score I thought was also really good. It's very minimal, but when it plays, I thought it was actually very well handled. And the editing, honestly, I don't really have any problems with the editing. I think this film was very well paced. There really wasn't a single second of this film that dragged for me, and I thought for the most part the pacing was very good here. So again, with all of those things to love about this film, is this film perfect? No. I do think there are quite a few things that hold it back. Right off the bat, I will say that some of the characters at first I wasn't really on board with, but in the third act, they do actually fix a lot of those issues for me. Once we get more into the nuances and their insecurities, I thought they worked very well, but for a while, they basically were just walking cliches, but then you realize that's kind of what the film is trying to do, so that wasn't really a huge issue for me. After that, there are definitely predictable moments in this film as well. But the only real issue I have with this film, and the thing that is preventing it from me saying this is like an absolutely amazing film, is actually the character of Molly. Now, Amy's a character we get into very well. We get into who she is. You know, we understand certain things that she's dealing with. This one secret that she's kind of withholding from Molly is revealed, and I thought that was definitely very well done. Molly, on the other hand, we don't really know a lot about in this film. We know that she's an overachiever. We know that she is someone that has a very can-do type of attitude, but we don't get into her family life. We have no idea what's going on there. We don't really understand. We know sort of her aspirations for college. You know, we know sort of what she wants to do, but just in general, Molly as a character, I feel like we could have gotten into more. The film does get into Amy very well, and there is enough with Molly. Like, it wasn't like a huge issue, but we do get to see Molly's parents in the film. We never really get into Molly's home life. Like, what is she dealing with? What's going on there? And that was something that did bother me a little bit. Like, I wanted to know a little bit more. There's an early scene in the film that makes you think they're going to get into her character more, but they really don't. And again, Beanie Feldstein's so likable in the role that it really wasn't that big of an issue, but it was something that did slightly hinder the film for me. There is also one direction that they do take in the film that I wasn't really too crazy about, but other than that, Booksmart is a very entertaining film. I think this is one that a lot of people are going to want to watch for sure. It has a very simple concept, but it really is elevated by its cast, who, like I said, all of them are just on their A game. It's consistently hilarious. It tells a very good story. It has a really good message in there, I think, for people who are in high school for sure. And just in general, I think this is a film that is really going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people, you know, unless they go to movies a lot like I do, I don't think a lot of people know about this film, and I hope this is one of those films where when it comes along, people do watch it and it gains more of a cult following and people start talking about it, because I really do think that Olivia Wilde does have a real future in directing. I really do like what I've seen from her here, and I'm interested in seeing where she does go after this film, if it is successful, because I really do like what she brought to the table here. So overall, I really did love Booksmart, and I am going to give Booksmart overall a B+. But overall, guys, in my review of Booksmart, let me know what you guys saw of this movie overall, left your thoughts, and definitely see this movie when it comes out, guys. I think a lot of people are really going to love this one for sure. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.